And I'm going to go ahead and start. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the District 2 virtual open house. This open house will be recorded and posted on the town website and shared with District 2 residents on Nextdoor. We ask all guests and attendees to please keep your microphone muted unless it's your turn to speak. Thank you, Councilmember James Townsend, for hosting this virtual open house tonight. Now I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate you and the town staff for all your hard work to put this together. And I appreciate you residents. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a very difficult time, so I appreciate you spending some time with me this evening and with our town staff. I think you'll see the more you get to know our town staff and the more you hear from them, the more you'll see how dedicated they are, how intelligent they are, and how hard they work for the town. So I'm grateful for them and all that they do. A lot has really changed recently, as you can tell. We're working from home. This is a virtual meeting. I'd much rather be with you all in person, shaking your hands, but that's a thing of the past, it looks like at this point. But I appreciate your patience. This is our very first virtual open house, and so I appreciate your patience with us as we work out any kinks. You know, one of my family members, one of my children at any minute may barge through the door and make a bunch of racket, and we'll deal with that if it happens. So your patience is appreciated. I just want to give you a couple of updates on how hard your town staff and your town council are working for you. Last month, for example, the town council approved over $1.2 million in grants and loans to support Castle Rock small businesses. And as a town council, we continue to look for ways to support small businesses and also to advocate for the reopening safely of those small businesses and the reopening of our economy in a safe manner and as quickly as we can. Just want to also let you know that the town staff continues to provide amazing, excellent service. Development review and building permits are being done and inspections are being done. Of course, our water is always is very high quality. They're doing a great job there. And also our Parks and Rec department is doing a great job of keeping our public parks safe and open. So take a look. That was one thing that was near and dear to my heart, was to see the police tape come off of the skate park. So I'm glad that's happened. Police and fire have also been working extremely hard to continue their uninterrupted service. They've also done birthday parades throughout the month of April. In fact, they participated in over 135 parades to bring some joy and some fun to the youth here in our town. We appreciate them also putting together bedtime stories for our youngsters and appreciate all their help. In our own district here, District 2, we've seen that Crowfoot Valley Road and that intersection down at Founders and Crowfoot Valley is finally getting finished. Appreciate the diligent efforts of our town staff and our Public Works Department to get that done. I mean, even with the work that they've done so far, there's been an immense change in that intersection. We appreciate all their hard work partnering with CDOT to get that taken care of. So great work there, you guys. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the town staff. They're going to go ahead, each of our departments, give you some updates that are about some of the exciting stuff that's going on in our neighborhood, and look forward to hearing from them. Thank you very much. So I'll go ahead and turn the time over to Tara Vargas, and she'll go ahead. She's our, and town staff. Tara Vargas is our Interim Development Services Director, and so I'll go ahead and turn the time over to her. Tara, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Councilman Townsend.
Sorry about that clumsy introduction.
No problem. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right.
Sound great.
Yeah, and if you could pull up the map slide, I'm going to discuss a few development projects that are in your district and a few that are near it. These projects are highlighted on the map for those of you that are joining us online. This is generally the north and northeast sections of town. For projects in District 2, I'll start up with Cobblestone Ranch. Cobblestone Ranch Planning Area 8 has some construction plans into the town. This is for a 19 single-family lot neighborhood. It's located on the west side of Castle Oaks Drive at the southern end of the Cobblestone Ranch neighborhood. This project will complete the roadway section in that area, putting in sidewalks and streetlights, basically from Lalani Lane down to the intersection with Pleasant View Drive. It will also put in a new bridge crossing at the southern Gulch crossing area there. So public approvals for this project occurred back in 2006, but now the developer's ready to move forward with construction plans. So those are under review at this time. South of Cobblestone Ranch in the Terrain neighborhood, I wanted to highlight two projects. The Terrain North Basin Phase 1 project is actually in the lower section of Terrain. They've submitted for a 96 single-family lot development. These are in 3 separate areas that are along the current gravel road section of Castle Oaks Drive. Basically starting just east of the Terrain Swim Club, where the gravel Castle Oaks Drive runs north up to Autumn Sage. So this project will complete the paving of Castle Oaks Drive in that area. It's currently under staff review, and it will have future neighborhood meetings as well as public hearings on these site plans before they can move forward. North of that is labeled Terrain North Basin Phase 2. This project has not been submitted to the town yet, but we've been in discussions with them. It's for 104 single-family lots. It is in the section that's paved on Castle Oaks Drive between the northern Autumn Sage connection up to the lower end of Cobblestone Ranch. It will require realignment and reconstruction of that section of Castle Oaks Drive. It will have future neighborhood meetings as well as future public hearings, and timing for both of these projects is unknown at this time. But wanted to point those out. You might be seeing yellow neighborhood meeting signs or public meeting signs popping up in that area. South of Terrain, on the lower side of this map, is the Caliber project. It's proposed by the Garrett Companies. It has a site plan that's going through public hearings now for 226 multifamily units. It includes a clubhouse, pool, and a dog park. This is located east of Founders Parkway and south of the homes on Ghost Dance Drive. These public hearings are actually starting this week, tomorrow night at Planning Commission, May 14th. This project will be under review for recommendation to Town Council, and it's scheduled to appear at Town Council on June 2nd. So staff has reviewed this project to ensure compliance with town codes. I do know that this project is of high interest to the community and invite you all to attend the virtual public hearing tomorrow night at Planning Commission, as well as the June 2nd meeting at Town Council. Because this meeting is quasi-judicial, it's not one that we can get into a detailed discussion about tonight outside of the public hearing. But please reach out to staff with any comments, and please attend the public hearings that are coming up. To attend the hearings, you can log in to crgov.com, and on the events calendar for tomorrow night, May 14th, you can find the Planning Commission meeting and use that link to join. So I hope you guys can attend that. South of the Caliber project is a proposed medical office complex or office building for 5 tenants. It's in the area that's, again, east of Founders Parkway and north of Highway 86 and the King Supers, adjacent to the 7-Eleven in that area. Up on the northwest end of District 2, the Promenade and Outlet Mall area is also in the district. I just want to give you a couple quick updates. The Whole Foods store is completed. It is fulfilling online delivery orders, but it's not open for walk-in service at this time. There's also a La Loma Mexican restaurant under construction and a proposed Buffalo Wild Wings, as well as a Panda Express. And then in the Outlet Mall parking lot, there are several restaurant pads that are proposed, but no tenants defined at this time. So we're not certain of the timing of those projects, but wanted to fill you in on that. Additionally, just east of the Home Depot is the Montana Vista office building that exists today, and they are working on putting up their second office building in that area. So there are 3 additional projects happening in Douglas County around the district that I wanted to touch on briefly tonight. Canyon South has just started construction, or has begun construction on Phase 1. That's located on the east side of Crowfoot Valley Road near Sapphire Point Boulevard. That first phase is for 304 single-family homes. Their total development is for 968. This is in unincorporated Douglas County, so it's under their jurisdiction. But we do have inspectors on site regarding their water and sanitary sewer lines, as we have an obligation agreement to serve them for that. South of Canyon South, in the middle of this map, is Pioneer Ranch. Pioneer Ranch is currently an unincorporated Douglas County, but they have requested annexation to the town and development in the town. They're proposing 1,123 residential units, approximately 400,000 square feet of commercial uses. This project is still under staff review, and it has been for several years. It has not had recent activity. As it moves forward, it will have future public hearings, but those have not been scheduled at this time. And then the last project I wanted to touch on is just south of Pioneer Ranch, and it's called Pine Canyon. This is in the area that's west of Terrain across Founders Parkway, and it runs all the way west across I-25 to the East Plum Creek on that edge. And on the southern end of it is the Woodlands and Escavera developments. So I mentioned this one because they had previously been proposing to develop in the town, but recently withdrew. They've now submitted an application to Douglas County to develop at urban levels. So they're proposing 1,800 residential units, as well as 600,000 square feet of commercial uses. They're also proposing to create their own water and sanitation district. So as a referral agency from Douglas County, our staff is reviewing this proposal at this time so we can provide them with comments. That project will also have future public hearings, but they'll be held with Douglas County. So I just wanted to give you an update on some of those items that are happening in your neighborhood and around it. So that concludes my presentation for this evening, but I'll be around later to answer questions. So our next presentation is from our Parks and Recreation Director, Jeff Brower. So I'll pass it off to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Tara. Welcome to Parks and Recreation. Like many of your families, our Parks and Recreation team has been impacted by the pandemic. Most of you are aware that the Recreation Center and the Miller Activity Complex remain closed. Fortunately, our parks, trails, and open space remain open. And it's been no surprise that the use within our parks and trails has increased dramatically. Within Douglas County, park use has increased 10%, and we've surely seen that within all of our parks. Ridgeline Open Space and Rock Park have seen a dramatic increase of 60%. As well as Gateway Mesa, Menman Ridge, and Plum Creek. So I think that's a testament to the Colorado values and the investment that we've made in our natural resources out there. So that's providing an opportunity for everybody to get outside during this time. I'd like to thank everybody for their support of Red Hawk Ridge Golf Course. On our first day of reopening, we were able to book our tee sheet. We had over 131% increase in our first day in our website visits. So people are using the website to find Red Hawk and those opportunities to do things outside and to recreate at the golf course. So we'll be working up at Red Hawk. We'll be working under new protocols, and we appreciate your support up at the course. Fitness and wellness has pivoted from an in-person capacity to fully virtual fitness. We run 30 classes per week. They're being offered free to the public. And we are also offering 10 athletic and 8 fitness classes available on demand, either on Instagram or YouTube. So staff has done a great job of putting those together. We're also consolidating our information from all the health officials and creating a draft plan for reopening our recreation center in the MAC. And I know that everybody is anxiously awaiting that. In the meantime, I would like to announce that both Rock Rec and CSU summer camps are scheduled to begin soon, and they will begin as early as May 26th. These camps are considered a critical business, and they fall under our license. And that license is issued by the Colorado Department of Human Services. And so we're excited to offer that. So in partnership with Colorado State University, we're pleased to offer music and movement, multi-sport, fun life, and outdoor adventure. So those camps will be coming to you soon, and get in and register as quick as possible because they're filling up fast. We also have half-day preschool age camps, including adventure clubs, kindergarten prep, and 30 days around the world. Youth specialty camps we're going to offer, and those those are being offered include Youth Tech Camp, Kids Art, Dance, Exploration, Dungeons and Dragons, and Mad Science. Those camps are half-day camps. They're non-licensed, and those are subject to any new orders that the governor would put out there. So just be aware of that as you're getting ready to sign up for those. So in Parks and Recreation, we're aware that your memories are made in the town. We know that we're with this pandemic. So our newest park is going to be Cobblestone Ranch. It's located north of Castle Oaks Drive. It's west of Highway 83. We will be developing approximately 10 acres of the 160-acre site. We're currently working on the design process. The community involvement included design charrettes, community surveys, open houses, and we look forward to construction in the fall. This has been one of our first projects where we've been able to demonstrate to the public where their input has changed the design of the park. So that's been kind of an interesting aspect to add into that process. Design is also underway for renovation projects with Mitchell Gulch, Plum Creek, and Butterfield. And we are currently building interactive websites for those and community surveys and image boards. And as we get a little bit more release on some of the social distancing, we'll go ahead and introduce you to those projects and bring those to the community for your feedback. So I would ask that from the Parks and Recreation staff, please be patient with us during our reopening. Thanks for supporting us. We really appreciate that. Many of you know that many of our staff got reappropriated to different positions, so they're in fields that are totally new to them. So a big shout out to you and a thank you for supporting them. With that concludes my presentation from Parks and Recreation and our updates. I'd like to turn it over to Dan Seiler, our current Director of Public Works.
Thanks, Jeff. And good evening, members of Castle Rock. Shannon, would you mind bringing up the slide for me, please? Like Councilmember Townsend mentioned, we appreciate your patience during this unique pandemic situation. We're, like you, are really focused on the safety of our staff and our community during these times, but we also recognize that we have important transportation business to take care of, and we're trying to minimize disruption to those important services during this time frame. And I think we've been doing a good job to date on that. We've been making some great strides in our maintenance area and also on our capital projects. And I want to just highlight a few of those projects along Crowfoot Valley Road. So the graphic that you see here is oriented to north to the top of the page. Founders Parkway is shown in the orange line at the south portion. And as Councilmember Townsend mentioned, we have a joint project with CDOT that we're currently wrapping up. In fact, today, our contractor was working on the final list of asphalt and should be wrapping that up as we speak today. So that is literally hot off the press information for you. There will be some temporary markings that are put in place until we can actually come back early next week and get those permanent marks installed. So beginning early next week, you should see a fresh new coat of asphalt on the roadway and hopefully enjoy that smoother ride. The area in blue, just north of our project, involves a couple county projects that are occurring. So one of those is associated with an obligation that the Canyon South developer that Tara had mentioned earlier has to add a new northbound lane along their property. It runs approximately from Tower Road on the south to their first access point just past Sapphire Point Boulevard. Where they leave off at Tower Road, the county is actually in the design process right now to extend that down to the green line where the town's project leaves off, and construct that by year's end too. That's what they're targeting for completion. So when that is done, there will be two northbound lanes along the entire stretch of Crowfoot Valley Road from Founders Parkway, just past Sapphire Point Boulevard. The town also has a project in the future to widen the southbound lanes to make that a 4-lane roadway. Currently, that is in our 5-year CIP to begin looking at construction toward, let's see, what is that? we've got design plan for the 5-year CIP, but we currently don't have construction identified for that widening. But we assess the budget on an annual basis, and as revenue allows and priorities adjust, we'll be looking at trying to get that construction targeted as soon as we can. The last projects that I would like to mention that folks might be familiar with is we are looking at installing a roundabout at an intersection along Crowfoot Valley Road. Originally, we were looking at the intersection of Timber Canyon that shows that yellow dot right between the blue line and the yellow line there. Our preliminary analysis indicated that the grades on Crowfoot Valley Road are a little bit too steep, and that is not a good candidate intersection for a roundabout. But we have identified Sapphire Point Boulevard as a good alternative. So we will be looking at moving into design within our 5-year CIP, and are currently targeting 2023 as a potential construction year for that project. So those are some of the high-level projects that are happening in the immediate vicinity. And like Councilmember Townsend and Tara had mentioned, we'll move into the question and answer portion of the meeting right now. And if there's any questions that are related to transportation, I'll be around to be able to answer those. So I'll turn it back over to Melissa, and we'll get into the informal question and answer period.
Thank you, Dan. We will now take questions from our online audience, followed by questions from our phone-in audience. Online audience, if you have a question, please use the raise your hand feature or submit a chat message to the host to ask your question now. We'll give you about 10 seconds. Shannon, could you show how people could raise their hand, please? See no questions online. Next, we'll take questions from our phone-in audience. Phone-in users, if you have a question, please press *6 to unmute your microphone and begin speaking. If there are multiple speakers, I'll ask the host to order the speakers and call you to speak by the first 6 digits in your phone number. All right. We'll go ahead, and we have a few questions that were submitted online. The first question is, how are you ensuring that the appropriate and necessary numbers of firefighters and police officers are maintained? Chief Colley or Chief Kroom, would you like to respond to this question, please?
This is Chief Colley. I can respond to that from the police department side. You know, the safety and security of our community is our #1 priority. And fortunately, we have a very supportive community, a very supportive elected officials, and we have been provided with all the resources that we need to keep our community safe. In fact, in the last several years, we've received numerous awards for being one of the safest cities in Colorado. So far this year, we've seen decreases in our property crimes of about 11% and decreases in our persons crimes of about 17%. So we're seeing some decreases in crimes this year. Some of that is probably related to a lower calls for service due to the COVID-19 crisis. However, we still have the resources out there available to meet the needs of the public and the community to keep everybody safe. You know, we focus on people, innovation and community to get all this done. So on the people side of things, we're always focusing on attracting and retaining top talent. And when we do have our folks here, we're providing them with some top-notch training. In fact, most years our officers average over 115 hours of training a year. The minimum requirement of training that the state requires is 24 hours. So they're getting significantly more than what the minimum requirement is, which is very important as we serve the community as a whole. We currently have a fully staffed police department of 80 sworn officers to provide that service. And we have several different divisions that do that. We have patrol out there that are entering the the emergency calls for service. We have our investigations division, which handles the follow-ups with our detective division, handling most of those. We have our traffic officers out there to handle the traffic crashes and to ensure that the motoring public is safe. And we also have officers that in our community partnership unit that partner with the community and handle some of the long-term issues out there to make sure that our community is getting the necessary service when it comes to that, because partnering with the community is extremely important to us. Some other things we're doing is to be as efficient as possible is innovation. So innovation includes things like our body-worn cameras, our in-car cameras, our mobile fingerprinting. And right now, one of the things that we're using, a tool that's really been very beneficial due to the coronavirus crisis, is the online reporting that we're using. So instead of having an officer respond to somebody's home in person to take a low-level type of a report, the resident can get online and make that report online. And if they can't do that, then what we're doing is having our officers get on the phone and give them a call so they can actually do a phone-in report when it comes to that. And finally, community. Community is very important to us. Right now, it's been a little bit of a challenge because we haven't been able to connect as personally as we would like. We know we will eventually get back to that. But Councilperson Townsend had mentioned our birthday parades that we've done. So we're trying to get creative to still continue to connect with the community with things like that. We have bike officers out there since the weather's gotten nice, and they're able to be out and about and to be visible with the community so we can at least keep that connection going. And we're looking forward to no not too distant future where we can get back to a little bit more normalcy so that we can have more connection with the community. So overall, we feel like with the support from our elected officials and from the community, we're able to provide the necessary level of service to keep our community safe. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if there's any follow-up questions.
Thank you, Chief Colley. Chief Croom, is there anything you would like to add?
Sure, thanks, Melissa. And as I'd like to echo just a lot of what Chief Colley said. We have great support from the community. We have great support from staff and council. From the Fire and Rescue Department standpoint, as an internationally accredited agency, we have a master plan, a strategic plan that we present to council, and that's adopted. Those are our guiding documents as far as the level of service that we're going to provide. So when the question's asked, how are we ensuring that? These are all plans that are put together and then adopted by council to move forward. And that's not uncommon in many of our other different departments within town too, in that we have lots of different plans in place to address each one of our department services. Ultimately, like I said, we have great support in working with our Public Safety Commission as well as our residents. It's just a great opportunity to serve the town and have the support that we do of our town residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Colley and Chief Croom. Our next submission is the open space maintenance has declined over the past 3 years. Either the contractor is not being held accountable to the agreement, or their terms have changed and they're not expected to maintain these areas anymore. If this was done to reduce cost of service, I want to express this is an issue for residents who share a fence line with these areas. Unfortunately, this open space this individual is referring to is not included in the submission. Jeff, would you mind sharing how in general open space is maintained throughout the town?
I would be happy to, Melissa. So open space in Castle Rock can be owned and maintained by different entities. So it either can be the town of Castle Rock, it can be the HOA, it can be a metro district, or it could even be Douglas County or a private landowner. So in our particular case, in the town of Castle Rock, we maintain open space in its natural condition. So we utilize mowing in a very minimalistic manner. If we have situations where we have a noxious weed problem, which we are bound by law to control, then we use an integrated approach. So we will use a combination of biological, mechanical, and chemical methods to go ahead and control any weed infestation that we might have on our open space properties. Most of you are familiar that Castle Rock has a number of trails that wind through our open space system. And so on those, we typically mow about a 3-foot shoulder along those trails. So that is kind of the extent of our open space maintenance here in Castle Rock.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next question is, what is your position on the negative impact of the terrain community from the building of the proposed apartment complex? Councilmember Townsend, would you like to respond to this question?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the question, and it's a good one. Unfortunately, like Tara had mentioned earlier, because the development will be going forward before the council as part of a quasi-judicial matter, it's not something that we can discuss tonight. Tara, do you have any more additional information that you can provide this person for us?
I think you did a great job, Councilmember Townsend. And again, we are aware of neighborhood concern on this project, and we'd be happy to discuss it in the form of a public hearing. And our staff is available to receive any written questions and feedback in addition to what they have already. So thank you for that.
Thank you both. And now our final question. This is a two-part question. The first part is, can the Timber Ridge subdivision and other surrounding subdivisions in 80108 zip code be redistricted to the new planned school that will be in the subdivision being built on Crowfoot Valley Road, and also the school that will be built on the Castle Pines development? The other question, part of the question is, when will this be getting a much needed road from Crowfoot Valley Road to I-25? It's not very green to circle down through the business district on Founders to get to I-25. It would be more efficient drive to work, waste time and gas. It would have been nice for the Canyons developers to build a road from Crowfoot Valley Road sooner than later. Is there another way to get to the road built? Thank you for your service to help our community. It's appreciated. A resident of Timber Ridge. I can answer the first part of the question. Decisions regarding school construction and also boundaries are made by the Douglas County School District. Tara, would you be available to answer the second part, please?
I'm sure, and if I miss anything, Dan can jump in to assist. But the neighborhood that's north of Sapphire Point neighborhood and north of the Canyon South area is called the Canyons, and is actually in the city of Castle Pines. So that property project has a proposed roadway connection that would connect Crowfoot Valley Road up to an eventual connection up in the Hess Road area. So that has been planned years ago, but it is not scheduled for construction. And unfortunately, the town does not have influence on that construction timing. It is within the city of Castle Pines, and the developer who is building the lots up in the area near Hess Road just south of there does not have plans to build it anytime soon that I'm aware of. And then maybe Dan can speak up from a more regional perspective. If it's, I know it's on the county master plans and other transportation master plans, but it's not been funded or scheduled that I'm aware of.
No, I think you've done a good job of summarizing that, Tara. That area is in a unique jurisdictional position where we've got county property and then the city of Castle Pines and also the town of Castle Rock. And the roadway that would provide that relief is within the city of Castle Pines, and they're likely to have a lot more information on the timing of that project. But I believe it is kind of market driven with the development.
Thank you, Tara and Dan. I appreciate it. That concludes our questions for this evening. Now I'll turn it back to Councilmember Townsend for some closing remarks.
I want to thank you so much, town staff, for all your hard work to put this together. You've really done an outstanding job. And I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in, those of you who are joining us, and those of you who send in questions. I appreciate you being willing to take time out of your day to get involved with your town. It really is an amazing town, and it's really worth it. Just want to remind you all to join Mayor Gray. He's going to have his virtual open house, and that will be May 21st from 7 to 8 p.m. Also, you're welcome to contact me anytime via phone or email. You can find my contact information on crgov.com/district2. In the meantime, I just want to thank you once again and just remind everybody to be a little more patient during this difficult time. Be a little kinder to those around you, and a little more aware of your neighbors and those who might need help during this difficult time. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.